All right, look, let me stop beating around the bush, okay? Because I think what I'm doing is I'm beating around the bush. Some people would say it's harder to connect with somebody in person than it is to connect virtually. And if all you've done is connect virtually, you haven't cultivated those muscles that allow for you to connect with somebody in person.
So what I'm hearing you say when you say that, which is the bush that you were beating around that I was going to ask you about, is that you think, therefore, it is more virtuous to do so, to do the harder thing of connecting in person because it takes that strength and it takes that skill.
Virtuous, I wouldn't say virtuous, but I will say the people that maybe connect with the world through like comment sections, the difference between that and being outside. And I'll meet a lot of these people outside and it's like, oh, you're a content creator. You know, there's a lot of people that's like, oh no, you're a genuine human being and you're just a dope person. But there's a lot of people that's like, oh, you're just really good at content creation and your personality shines through in the crib. But when you come outside, you kind of like ducked off and in the corner because like you don't know how to do this because you haven't had to and you've gotten rewarded or engagement from doing that.
What up, my friends, and welcome to The Friend Lab. We're your host and good friends, Bryce the Third.
I'm Liz McKean, and if you're here to cook up some friendship.
Keep that.
We know that it's hard to make friends, and it can be a challenge to keep friends and be a friend. So building connections in your life is something that you're looking to get better at. You're in the right place.
Friendship and connection and relationships of all kinds are the best kind of challenge. It's the thing that makes being a person worth being a person. We're excited to share our friendship with you.
So throw your lab coats on and let's get this experiment jumping.
In the Friend Lab.
Eureka!
What up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Friend Lab. We are your hosts, Bryce the Third.
And Dee Dee the button pusher,
Dee Dee the
aka
button
Liz
pusher
McKean.
from Dexter's Laboratory, who is just, what does this button do all morning? How's your energy, Liz?
My energy is wackadoodle, is what it is. I'm all over the
All
place.
right. Yet another trademark word to describe a thing from Liz McKean.
You heard it here first. Actually, I feel like wackadoodle is something I've heard elsewhere. You can add doodle to anything, and it just has a little more punch to it.
Noodle doodle.
There you go. See?
Mm,
More fun to
nah,
say.
it just feels whimsical.
But that's great. It just enhances it. It's like an enhancer. Bryce, how is your energy today? The kind of work that I'm doing. Like I'm doing hypnosis, and right now I'm just doing it only online. And I hope, at some point I'll be able to have like a space where I can do these kinds of sessions with people in person, because I think there's value in that. And and when I've gone to therapy, just I like to go in person. But when somebody's leading me in something like a hypnosis or a meditation or visualization or something like that, I really like a live situation, but I also really like to be in my own space where I can be, wearing sweatpants, where I can be in my comfiest chair, where I can have my eyes closed and I can control the environment in a way that is, I don't know, just so comforting and comfortable. But then there's a person there with me that I feel like is really with me. And that's a choice that I have, like we have those options. There's somebody that maybe would never, ever have set foot in a recovery meeting, but because there was the option to do it from home where they could, kind of dip their toe in a way, they were able to. I mean, we've had this conversation before about people that, that's their entire story. And for folks that are homebound, what a beautiful thing. And then for every one of these conversations we have, I feel like, there's somebody that's thinking or saying like, no, it doesn't feel the same. It's not the same. I have to be in person in order to feel connected to somebody. And like, cool, that's the option that you choose. I think the expansion of opportunity and options and ways to connect and acknowledging that they all can be real, is the point.
I was about to try to play devil's advocate, but the committee of Liz's offered the counterpoint before I could even say anything. God dang. But like I was gonna say, like, what do we think about? I'm trying to figure out how to frame this because I actually in-person stuff, like going up to somebody and talking to, like, I'm in a grocery store and I see somebody that I'm attracted to. Like, and don't hear it all weird. Like, it could be like what you're intimately attracted to. But even that, like, I'm like, what am I saying? Like, I seen a dude. I'm a straight man. I seen a dude in a beret walking to the Better Health like a month ago. I was driving. I wasn't about to go into the Better Health, but I literally almost parked and just, like, went to the grocery store. Like, hey, bro, what's your story? Like, is the revolution starting right now, brother? Like, I was like, it was so intriguing to me, and the energy just called. Like, hey, like I gotta, But
Siren
that's
Song of the Beret.
yeah. But that, like, either you're an artist or you're a Black Panther, bro. You one of the two, and that either way, I want to know you.
Or French? Isn't that just also just like a pretty typical
But to go up to somebody in person is tackling another. How am I trying to put this? I don't want to say harder. It takes a different set of skills to approach somebody cold in person than it does to be on a virtual thing and connect virtually, or to send a DM, or to like and comment on somebody's post. I mean, I guess when you get to the point where you're on FaceTime and you're like like, that takes another set of skills to be able to like connect through like virtual live but if I'm on the whatever app and you're streaming live and you're connecting in a way that you can't hear me, I can comment. That feels like connection to me because I'm a part of this thing. But it takes a different set of skills to, okay, click join this live and then comment than it does to like, hey, I'm in a grocery store and this person is intriguing and I want to say hi. Right? What do we think about the dichotomy of the strengths that is required to show up for both of those things? And all right, let me stop beating around the bush, okay? Because I think what I'm doing is I'm beating around the bush. Some people would say it's harder to connect with somebody in person than it is to connect virtually. And if all you've done is connect virtually, then you don't have you haven't cultivated those muscles that allow for you to connect with somebody in person.
So what I'm hearing you say when you say that, which is the bush that you were beating around that I was going to ask you about, is that you think, therefore, it is more virtuous to do so, to do the harder thing of connecting in person, because it takes that strength and it takes that skill. Whereas I have a thought on that, but continue.
Virtuous? I wouldn't say virtuous, but I will say like, hey, I have a skill that somebody else doesn't. And also don't hear this as my opinion. I think my opinion is ever evolving. But
stop telling people how to hear you. They get to hear you. You hear him however you want to, listener. I got you.
All right, yeah, whatever y'all use, whatever ear y'all want to. Let me try to stand in what I've seen.
Yeah.
And this is not like my daughter's level of being on like in connection, but like the people that maybe connect with the world through like comment sections that allow for me to kind of be a bit shielded but still like say things. And then the difference between that and being outside is like, or even being in like a space where it's like, content creation and public figure. And I'll meet a lot of these people outside and it's like, oh, you're a content creator. There's a lot of people that's like, oh no, you're a genuine human being and you're just a dope person. But there's a lot of people that's like, oh, you're just really good at content creation and your personality shines through in the crib. But when you come outside, you kind of like ducked off and in the corner because like you don't know how to do this, because you haven't had to and you've gotten rewarded or engagement from doing that. And so I have a different set of skills because I'm gonna move around this room and like the content I create is like secondary to my ability to connect with humans in general, and not even an ability, like actually a desire or like an inspired interest. I'm saying words now. I'm just saying words at this point, but you know what I'm saying.
You do, yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, there's so many different. Layers isn't even the right word. I feel like we're in like a spider web now of different scenarios that might not even all work in the same kind of conversation, because I like that you're using the word skills, different set of skills, because that does kind of like level, like that takes away like the hierarchy or the judgment of it. Because I also think like, yeah, some people just inherently are comfortable and have the ability and like the confidence and enjoy connecting in person. Like I could sit next to somebody in a brand new space and say hi and feel pretty comfortable making conversation. Whereas for someone else, depending on their history, their culture, their upbringing, their maybe trauma, maybe like, their neurodivergence, things like that I just, I was born on third base there, because whereas somebody else wasn't. And that's doesn't mean that I, did a better job. I'm a better connector. That just means like in that space, I'm just feel safer and more comfortable to be able to do that. And somebody else doesn't. And that doesn't mean that I'm, better connector. But I think there's all that conversation about what it takes to be someone who can connect with someone in person, especially like a new person or a new place. And then there are people who are connecting. I think the experience is very different when you're talking about the person who is a content creator engaging with people in their comment section versus people that are just engaging in the comment section. Like they're having different experiences. They have different motivations. Therefore, they have different skill sets and needs, and they're coming from all different places. And then, of course, there's the people who are on a Zoom call with a group. There's people that are on a FaceTime with one-on-one. There's people who are, the keyboard warriors and people's DMs and stuff who are like, capitalizing on anonymity to be, their shittiest self, like there's like so many different areas of this. And I think if we're like distilling it down to, what does it mean to connect, and in a way that, the way we talk about connection here, I think is like as a human, I don't know, like need and birthright, to like to feel less alone in this world and feel like you're part of something and in relationship. I think that's such a subjective thing, but objectively I feel like we all just have to be kind of honest about that motivation. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's in that comment section, what are you doing there? Are you doing it because it's your job? You're a content creator, or are you trying to actually connect with people? And if that's giving you what you need, even stepping outside and be like, all right, is that all that I need? Or do I want to take this into another space? And yeah, I guess it's like less of a
How
judgment and
do
more of a, I don't know.
how do I know? See, that's the thing too. Like when I talk about like my daughter and her experience, there's a level of not having to be outside that she just won't have access to. So there's nothing to
Mhm.
hold her experience up to. Whereas like for me, there was a time in my adolescence where it's like, hey, if I wanted to see her, I gotta go see her. If I
Mhm.
want to like go meet them, I gotta go pull up. If we wanted to play games together, like we had to take our controller over to the homie crib and sit on the couch and play the game together, because that's the thing that
My
Bryce got
God,
into,
it's you
like
so.
when online gaming first took off, like, he was there. And so like, your Minecrafts or your Club Penguins or your what was some of the other right now Roblox, where it's like
Mhm.
people from around the world can play together. And it's like that wasn't always like that wasn't the case for me. I had to go outside. And
Mhm.
it's as an adult human, there's a certain level of like that I got to get over to go outside still to this day,
Yeah.
and I was brought up like that. So now you have a generation of kids who are raised in it being normal to just be on the phone with your friend and not having seen them in a long time,
Mhm.
and that be the level of connection that they have.
Yeah.
And so do they have that thing that allows for them to like get old, like experience and get through that to go for connection? And is that something that is even like, is that something that's like is that a necessary
How important is
skill
it?
to have?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I think it
I mean,
is,
I
but
think it is too. Yeah. It's interesting though cuz I feel like there's a lot of people talking about this right now, especially when it comes to kids and, as a person who doesn't have kids, I don't want to, paint myself as an expert. So I'll point to what I've seen of experts talking, and I know a lot of people point to that book, The Anxious Generation, talking
yeah,
about kids.
Jonathan Haidt,
And what's that?
Jonathan Haidt.
Yeah. Hate is his last name?
Haidt, so
Oh,
height,
okay.
hate.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool name. Anyways, yeah, and I think there's I have not read that book cover to cover. I've just read excerpts of it. And a lot of the excerpts I've read have been because I've engaged more with the commentary that discredits it. That's like, this is just a dude who just started saying things that a lot of people were already saying, put it in a big book and said these kids shouldn't be online all the time and it's really hurting their stuff, and would like, and kind of like cherry picked from studies that proved the things he was saying in a way that was really not a holistic conversation, like comprehensive about the topic. And so there's really good conversation out there about and the conversations that I've heard, like who is it? Was it uh If Books Could Kill is the podcast that I love that broke this book down. And they were just like, this is terrible. They were not kind about it. But it was interesting because they were like, we're not necessarily saying that there isn't, you know, something important to talk about when it comes to kids and their time online and the damage that can be done there, and also discrediting all of the good parts of it. Like you said, the connections that can be had. You think about kids who have traditionally been super, bullied, disenfranchised, felt very alone because of their, whatever's going on in their life. Um, there's so much good stuff there too. So I think sometimes it's not a helpful conversation when it's all just one-sided or the other, because I think it's many-sided. There was one other thing
Yeah.
though. There's one other guy. I can't remember his name, but he wrote a book about gaming in particular, and about like healthy gaming and how to like, use that for good for kids
There's
versus.
actually like a therapy that includes gaming.
I wonder if this is the guy that made that. I can't remember what his name is, but I'll find it and we can put it in the show notes. But he's really fascinating to listen to about that. And I think it's too soon to even know, like.
It's too soon to even know. And I think so. Liz is up on FD Signifier. If you're not up on FD Signifier, you should probably check him out. He's a really good video essayist, and he's really good at having the holistic conversation
He really is,
around
yeah.
something. It's not criticism to just shit on. It's like, let's break this down and see all the elements that make up this thing. And I think Lee is like, to your point, where it's like, we got to have a holistic conversation. I'm not going to shit on the ancient generation approach, because literally right now in the news, there is something going on. I'm not super tapped in, but I can't avoid certain headlines. But there's something going on, including like the research done by Jonathan and his book, The Ancient Generation, and Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, and like the last thing I seen was like there were things that were requested from lawyers because of like the request of a discovery of like different research that like Facebook itself had did about
Oh, for sure,
people
yeah.
taking breaks from, like, people after taking a break from social media for a week have considerable nature
Benefits.
of like feeling better, like feeling less anxious, feeling, more tapped in.
100%.
And if I'm on social media for too long and I'm not in the right headspace, I feel it. I can literally feel it. Also, I'm like 2 degrees separated from T-Boz from TLC, or was it Estelle, who from American Boy, take me on the place I wanna go somewhere. Who else been liking my content lately? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these are people that have engaged with me, so I'm 2 degrees separated from like people I admire because of the level of connectivity that the internet creates. Like, we're able to connect on a deep level. My daughter is able to have friends on a deep level. My son has probably had conversation while playing Marvel Avengers or whatever the fuck, that like has let people into him and who he is, so you can't, like, there's always a baby in the bathwater that we can't throw out,
Well, and social media is such a, when we talk about your daughter on FaceTime with their dance team, and we talk about being on Facebook for, bazillion hours, like, in my mind, those are very different conversations. Like, obviously there's overlap and like, a lot of it's happening on the same screen, but yeah, and I don't doubt it for a second that the meta of it all, and, whatever other
The
social
meta.
media bazillionaires are out there that are just like, oh yeah. I mean, it's like the gas companies that we see that in like the 70s had literal studies coming out like this is going to destroy the planet and probably kill all the humans on Earth, but like how can we make sure nobody finds out? You know what I mean? Like those things exist. Like they'd say there's no ethical way to be a billionaire, and like I believe that with my whole freaking heart. So yes, that, and that doesn't mean, like you said, that the whole baby with the bathwater thing.
Because when I quit cigarettes, Facebook helped.
Yeah.
There was a Facebook group, smoking cessation. There's a quit smoking group that like really helped, and I've credited it as the reason that I stuck it in. You know,
I met Coria. I met one of my best friends on Facebook in the Facebook group. Yeah, like there's so many good things.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have concluded Facebook is good. You're welcome, internet.
Sponsored by Meta.
I know, exactly. Like,
get 25% off of your next pair of Meta glasses with the code The Friendly.
The point that we're making right now is like it would be such a disservice to the whole conversation. And I think this is what people do, especially in these internet spaces where everything's like a hot take and like little short clips, is if you're like, well, this helped me, therefore it's good and I don't want to hear anything else. Or this hurt me or someone I love, therefore it's bad and I don't want to hear anything else. Nobody else should be able to use it. You know what I mean? It's just like nothing exists in that kind of vacuum, for better and for worse. And yeah, so I guess we're probably just not going to solve this on one podcast. Damn it.
Yeah.
Stick to hot dogs. And we were going to talk about today that was like the whole idea of like visibility and vulnerability and the performance of it all. And like we definitely didn't talk about that, like pinning it. But I feel like this is a good foundational discussion that we can then grow from for next time, maybe.
So with all that being said, we appreciate you all for tapping in with us today and having a conversation with friends, between friends, as friends. And we'll catch you on the next episode of The Friendly.
Eureka.
That's your shit now.
Yeah.